Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Square Studio. Welcome to the show. I'm just going to ignore the fact that Eric's here. I'm just going to keep talking to you.
It's cool.
Just kidding. Anyways, Eric is joining if you didn't notice.
Hi.
Hi. So today we're going to be talking about what, Eric?
We're going to be playing a game called Let's Try to Figure Out What That Card Does.
Ooh, so we basically read the card and it explains the card, right?
Right. But the catch is we've picked cards from the early days of Magic, and we're going to read their original text, not their Oracle text, and try to figure out what they do.
Okay. Easy enough. I think it sounds super simple.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to read or you to read?
We can switch off.
Okay. So you want to do the first one?
Sure. Okay. So this first one's called Tempest Effreet.
Okay.
I already am screwing up the name, so great. We're off to a great start.
Good start.
The card reads, tap, choose a card at random from target opponent's hand and put it in yours. So far, so good.
Okay.
Bury Tempest Effreet in opponent's graveyard. The change in ownership is permanent. Play this ability as an interrupt. Before you choose the card to be switched, the opponent may prevent effect by paying 10 life or conceding the game.
Oh my gosh.
If this is done, bury Tempest Effreet. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. Remove Tempest Effreet from your deck before playing, if not playing for ante.
Okay, so basically, do you want me to guess or you guessing on the Oracle text on this one?
You guess.
Okay. Goodness. Okay, so this card is illegal everywhere.
Illegal
First
everywhere.
of all, because you are permanently changing cards, like literally trading a card for another one, essentially. So yeah, you are getting you're tapping this, getting a random card out of an opponent's hand. It is now yours permanently. This goes into their graveyard,
So
which is impossible for that to happen in a normal game of Magic, right? Because you can't just put something in someone's graveyard. They can choose to say, no, that's not happening by paying 10 life or just losing the game. But if they did, they would lose their ante as well, because that's how some games were played back then, where you also just kind of anteed a card before the game even started.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So am I close?
Yeah, so the Oracle text is tap, sacrifice Tempest Effreet. Target opponent may pay 10 life. If the player doesn't, they reveal a card at random from their hand. Then you exchange ownership of the revealed card and Tempest Effreet. Put the revealed card into your hand, Tempest Effreet from anywhere into that player's graveyard. This change in ownership is permanent.
So I love how there's like literally Oracle text for a card that is banned in everything. It is literally banned. Legacy, Vintage, Commander, Oathbreaker, not legal anywhere else. It is hilarious.
It's so complicated.
It is so complicated. All right.
There was so many times on that card that said, remove Tempest Effreet. They basically don't have this
They really want
card.
you to make sure you don't have it, yeah. Okay, next up. Thomas's Coffin.
Yeah,
all right,
you do
this
this
is
one.
one that is it's infamous for having really hard rules text. Here we go. It is a mono artifact. Pay 3, select a creature in play. That creature is considered out of play as long as Coffin remains tapped. Hence, the creature cannot be the target of spells and cannot receive damage, use special powers, attack, or defend. All counters and enchantments on the creature remain, but are also out of play. If Coffin is untapped or removed, creature returns to play tapped. You may choose not to untap Coffin during your untap phase. Okay, so that's that.
Okay, I think it's pretty simple. You tap Coffin and exile something until the Coffin either leaves play or becomes untapped.
Yes, but you also are taking the auras with it too, and counters.
Oh yeah,
on it
anything
as well,
attached to it, and
yeah, essentially, yeah.
So it's almost like it phases out.
Kind of phases.
So it's like phases out.
Yeah, but it's actually exiled. It's
But
like
it's exiled.
it's an egg. So yeah, you put an exile zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exiled. It's not phased out. It's an exile, but also with the auras and whatever counters attached to it, essentially. So yeah, the Oracle text reads: 3 tap, exile target creature and all auras attached to it. Note the number and kind of counters that were on that creature. That is obnoxious. When Thomas's Coffin leaves the battlefield or becomes untapped, return the exile card to the battlefield under its control. Tapped under and tap with the noted number and kind of counters on it. Yeah, that gets complex. If you do, return the other exile cards to the battlefield under their owner's control attached to that permanent. So yeah, typically if something exiles, everything falls off of it.
Yeah, basically the new version of this would just be like phase out target.
Yeah,
permanent.
that would probably be how they do it. So yeah, there you go. Thomas Coffin, very expensive, very good card in certain circumstances, but also very expensive.
Well, let's do this one.
This one's
All right.
hilarious. Okay. Oh my.
Well, I think you
gosh.
know what this one does, right?
I think everyone knows what.
But let's just read the text.
Yeah,
'cause The number of words in the Oracle text versus the number of words on the card is so vastly different.
That's always the best when you see that. And you're like, they've gotten better at writing these.
This is another one that's completely like banned everywhere. It's Shahrazad.
Yeah, banned literally everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, players must leave game in progress as it is and use the cards left in their libraries as decks with which to play a sub-game of Magic. When the sub-game is over, the players shuffle these cards, return them to their libraries, and resume game in progress, with any loser of the sub-game having his or her remaining life points, rounding down. Effects that prevent the damage may not be used to counter that loss of life. The subgame has no ante. Using less than 40 cards may be necessary.
Yeah, that seems very complex. It is very complex, and they've simplified it since. It's basically just, hey, play another game of Magic, but with the remaining cards in your decks.
Yep.
Essentially.
And if you lose, you lose half your life.
Yeah.
Rounded up.
And
actually,
then the player who played Charizard is going to then get Charizard out of your graveyard, out of their graveyard, and then do it again.
Yep.
And again.
Yep.
And again, because this doesn't exile. It's cast for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you just keep doing it. I guess there weren't that many ways to get things out of your graveyard, but yeah, still.
No. Let's do Ice Cold.
I love the art on this one. Okay, here we go. This one has an absurd amount of text. Here we go. All right. It's an artifact. It is not a mono artifact.
Okay.
Cool. All right. X tap. Put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron and put a spell card face up on Ice Cauldron. Note the type and amount of mana used to pay this activation cost. Interesting. Use this ability only if there are no charge counters on Ice Cauldron. You may play that spell as low as in your hand. Tap, remove the charge counter from Ice Cauldron to add mana of the type and amount last used to put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron to your mana pool. This mana is usable only to cast the spell on top of Ice Cauldron. Weird. Very weird.
Okay. Is that all the text?
Yeah.
So you put a card on top of Ice Cauldron.
Yep.
And then you can pay mana into it but of a color that you have to note, and it's like a bank, right? Because you're paying it towards that spell's mana cost.
Yeah, you're to my knowledge. I mean, I'll read the whole text in a second, but I believe you're just like banking toward.
It's like paying on credit.
Yeah, kind of like paying I'll put a little bit toward this spell now, and then later I can
payment plan for your spell.
Exactly. It's like you're just like I'm putting this spell in storage.
Yeah, here's a
deposit for it.
Yeah, here's a omniscience or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put 2 mana down toward this omniscience.
It's turn 3 and I want to put money towards this omniscience.
But for some reason you decide, well, I mean, I guess there are certain things that you're like, okay, like maybe an opponent has a discard deck, and you're like, okay, I'll get this out of my hand.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff for me, like I want to draw up to 7, with like a wheel or whatnot, and I don't want to lose this. That would kind of be like a storage thing, I guess. Here we go. Pay X and tap. You may exile a non-land card from your hand. You may cast a card for long as remains exile. Put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron and note the type and amount of mana spent to pay this activation cost. That's so interesting. Activate only if there are no charge counters on it. Temporary charge counter from it. Add the last no type of mana. Spend this mana to cast the last card. Exile with Ice Cauldron. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So it makes sense because like if you have a multicolored spell.
Yeah.
You can't just use colorless mana. You can't tap a Soul Ring and turn it blue.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Why not? Well, if you've got Chromatic Warrior, you can. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Next up.
I actually kind of like that card.
That is interesting. It's interesting.
It's a cool card. I'll kind of.
All right. Do you want to do this one or not?
Figure out a way to put it in a deck. Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
Okay. X. Oh, so Helm of Obedience. Mm-hmm. Cool art. X tap. Put the top card of target opponent's library into his or her graveyard. Continue doing this until you have put X cards or a creature card into that graveyard, whichever occurs first. If the last card put into the graveyard is a creature card, bury Helm of Obedience and put that card into play under your control as though it were just cast. X cannot equal 0.
Interesting. Okay.
What?
That's very strange.
Okay, so you try to guess.
So you have someone mill a certain amount, based on the X value. Well, you mill. You basically your X is going to be the top number that you're milling, I believe.
Yeah,
essentially,
mill up to X.
Mill up to X. If X, it could be that X value, or if you hit a creature before that, you stop once you hit the creature, and then you get that creature under control.
And the helm is destroyed.
Yes.
But if I am understanding correctly, if you don't hit a creature,
yeah,
you mill to the X, and this stays on the battlefield.
I would assume
to be used again. So if
Yeah.
you're playing against like a Spellslinger deck, you may mill them quite a bit.
Sure.
Before they actually,
without actually hitting something.
Yeah.
But or you could just like do
or if
one.
you know
or
somebody has like a creatureless deck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
Interesting.
it's stopping based on the X though. So you have to
Well,
put it
yeah,
on
yeah.
X.
You're only ever going to be able to do X, but
Yeah, but also like you can. I mean, like let's say you know someone's got a creature on top of their library for no reason. Like you've got like something that can let you look at the top of the library. You can just pay 1 into it and tap and sack, and you
True.
get that. So
okay. So the oracle of this: X tap, target opponent mills a card, then repeats this process until a creature card or X cards have been put into their graveyard this way, whichever comes first. If one or more creature cards were put into that graveyard this way, sacrifice Helm of Obedience and put one of them onto the battlefield under your control. X can't be 0.
I wonder why it says like if one or more creature cards were put in the graveyard. Because like how can you hit more?
What if you did? Could you double this up with like
like a Shronic Resonance?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, not Shronic. Shronic Trigger, but yeah, the other one does
something
activation.
like that?
Probably, yeah.
There's got to be cards out there that
Yeah.
they would need to make that in the Oracle text.
I
Because
know,
it's not
yeah.
on the
It's
original,
well,
but
yeah, and like
in the Oracle
I
text,
don't
it
I don't
is.
know how you'd be able to hit more than one because again it like stops once you hit a creature card. So I don't know. Interesting. Okay.
Sure.
Very strange.
Very strange.
Yeah, that one's weird.
Yeah,
All right.
you read it.
Here we go. Guardian Beast. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Okay. As long as Guardian Beast is untapped, your non-creature artifacts cannot be further enchanted, destroyed, or taken under someone else's control. If something occurs that would destroy the Guardian Beast and artifacts simultaneously, the Guardian Beast is destroyed, but your artifacts are not. Weird. If an artifact is enchanted or stolen while Guardian Beast is tapped, it remains so when Guardian Beast becomes untapped. Okay.
So it gives your stuff hexproof if it's tapped.
I think it's more indestructible.
Well, it gives everything indestructible regardless.
Yeah,
right?
it
Like
can be
it basically
destroyed.
acts as totem armor for all of your stuff.
Kind of, yeah.
Because if something's gonna get destroyed, that gets destroyed instead.
Weird.
And then if it's tapped, nothing can get targeted
Yeah.
other than that.
Am
I reading that
It has
right?
nothing to do with the simultaneous, like the. It's very strange. So the Oracle text is
Non-creature artifacts too,
Yeah.
mind you. So it's really just covering those. But
interesting, even though it doesn't specify that really. Oh, it does specify that. As long as Guardian Beast is untapped, here's the Oracle text. Non-creature artifacts you control can't be enchanted. They have indestructible, and other players can't get control of them. Okay, so that's it's not hexproof. It's just they can't be enchanted because they still be targeted by the things, just not enchantments apparently. Yeah, they're indestructible. They can't be destroyed, and the players can't get control of them. But if it's tapped, then that's not the case. This effect doesn't remove or is already attached to those artifacts. That's interesting. They actually had to specify that, which would make sense. So,
yeah, so it's not like because it's not giving him protection or something like that.
Interesting. Okay, a card that I'm never going to see in person because it's like $700 card.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a
Yeah, it's a $700
$650 card.
Yeah.
It's a 2/4.
Ooh. For 4 mana.
Oh, Drought is kind of weird.
Okay. You want this?
Yeah, during your upkeep, pay white or destroy Drought. Before a spell that requires black as part of its casting cost may be cast, or an ability that requires black as part of its activation cost may be played, the controller of that spell or ability sacrifices a swamp for each black in the spell's casting cost or ability's casting cost. Yeah, I guess it's not that complicated.
I guess, yeah, it's just you have to sacrifice a swamp if you're going to cast black spells for each black mana symbol, which is gross.
Yeah, so it looks like they've done a good job of shorthanding it. Spells cost an additional sacrifice a swamp for each black mana symbol in their casting cost.
How brutal against... If you got a friend that's got a mono black deck, start running Drought.
That's a lot. That's a very cheap way to lose friends. 21 cents.
Yeah, legal and Legacy, Vintage Spinner, and Oathbreaker.
Oh
my gosh. Yeah, that is brutal.
That's brutal.
The land destruction that happened way back then.
I don't know. I feel like that's worse than even like Armageddon, where you're saying destroy lands.
Yeah.
Like they have to sacrifice it. They have to make that choice.
Hey, you've got to pay an upkeep cost. Okay, 2 mana.
2 mana. It's not even cumulative.
That's a lot.
It's not even
I'm not
cumulative.
going to pay the 2. I'm going to all pay the 2. I'll pay the 2. You're going to pay the 2? I'll pay the 2.
Oh man.
Oh, gosh. I
think
remember
that
this
one's-
picture. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Cocoon. All right, here we go. Enchant creature, so it's an aura. Tap target creature you control and put 3 counters on it. Target creature does not untap as normal while it has one or more of these counters on it. Remove 1 counter during your upkeep. During the upkeep phase, after one in which the last counter is removed, Cocoon is destroyed and target creature gets a +1 counter and flying ability. Interesting. Okay, so basically you are just kind of like hibernating the creature. It doesn't say what kinds of counters. It says put 3 counters on it. So you basically like, okay, I'm gonna tap this down. In 3 turns, it's going to get out of the cocoon, become a butterfly, and it gets a counter on it, gets slightly bigger, and it can fly now.
Yep.
Basically.
Okay. When Cocoon enters the battlefield,
They're
tap
pupa counters. Pupa
counters.
Pupa or pupa.
3 pupa.
Pupa. I think pupa. I think it's pupa. Let us know in the comments below. I think it's pupa.
3 PUPA counters
pupa.
on Cocoon. Enchanted creature does not untap until if untap step if it has a counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a pupa counter from Cocoon. If you can't, sacrifice it, put a +1/+1 counter. I mean, it's kind of like the Rixmathies a little bit, like
kind of, yeah, like slumber counters, yeah.
Slumber counters.
Yeah,
it's like,
in the weight essentially.
It's like the OG slumber counters.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Interesting. I like that. Except for the fact that you can obviously untap creatures in other ways, so you can have a cocoon creature that's just swinging things. Kind of funny. Oh goodness. Okay.
Okay, so Blaze of Glory.
Yep.
This is another one where the shorthand is a lot
shorter
than the longhand. Okay, it's an instant. Target defending creature can and must block all attacking creatures it can legally block. For example, why did they do that? For example,
I like that.
A normal
kind of
non-flying target defender can and must block all normal non-flying attackers at once, but it cannot block any flying attackers. Controller of target defender may distribute damage among attackers as desired. Play before defense is chosen. It's really not that complicated of a card, but like the amount of text on this.
This is actually a really cool card.
This is cool.
I really kind of wish this was budget. It's nowhere near budget.
$85,
Well, that's
$31
the cheapest version.
And that's probably a gold border? Oh,
yeah,
no, it's not.
Oh, it's collector's edition. But yeah, like this is a reserve list card.
Wow.
Gosh, if this was budget, there's so many funny, just dumb plays you can make with it.
The thing is like if this wasn't on the reserve list, it probably would be budget.
Yeah, it's either like a removal spell in a way, or also kind of like a fog in a way too, where like someone swings you with their entire army, and you've got like one tiny little creature like this blocks everything, and if your things don't have trample, it doesn't go through.
This card would be awesome in like Jared.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Jared wants to get taken damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jared
He wants to get. Yeah. He wants to
cast the spell during combat before your blockers are declared. Target creature defending player controls can block any other creatures this turn. It blocks each attacking creature's turn if able.
Super simple.
Gosh, that's really cool. I like that.
That's a cool card.
Unfortunately, it's on the reserve list. It's not going to reprint it.
Yeah. I think this one's easy.
Okay.
Just trying to skip.
Yeah, you're fine.
A couple of these aren't as Goblin Artisans is another one.
Yeah, this is funny.
Okay. You want to do it? Go ahead.
Apparently, working at a power plant is now official in Magic because
that's right.
Yeah, the hard hats are official in Magic too. Apparently, Goblin Artisans. Here we go. Tap. Use this ability only when you cast a target artifact spell. Okay, I stumbled those words because like trying to even read that's weird.
Yeah.
Play this ability as an interrupt. Flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails while coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, draw a card. Otherwise, counter your artifact spell. More than one Goblin Artisan's ability cannot target these same artifacts. Also, basically, like, okay, I guess you're casting an artifact spell. You tap this and you say, I'm going to counter my own artifact spell, or I get to draw a card, depending on if you call a coin flip correctly or incorrectly. Is that basically it?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can't do more than one trigger of it.
Oh, so you're okay, yeah. But this one
you're
more
than
actually
one
calling
Goblin
this.
because like if you have more than one Goblin Artisan, you can't tap 3 Goblin Artisans to counter the same.
That makes sense.
Stack all of
that
them
makes
to
sense,
draw
I guess.
cards.
Because I'm planning on running.
Because otherwise, you're Tormod's Crypt or whatever that costs 0 mana.
You draw 3, or maybe draw 2 potentially.
Draw 2,
yeah, counter it once or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you're planning on running Goblin Artisan Tribal, you cannot. But yeah. Okay. Flip a coin. Tap. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, draw a card. So they took out the fact that your opponent would be calling the coin because you just are calling it at this point.
Yeah.
It does not specify opponent.
Yep.
If you lose the flip, counter target artifact spell you control that isn't target ability from another creature named Goblin Artisans. It's so specific. It's so funny.
What
okay.
a weird card.
That is a weird card. And again, like, I do think is there any way to make your opponent call a coin flip? I mean, there probably are, right?
I don't know.
There probably are. We'll look it up. Anyways, let us know in the comments below if you know of an example right now. Because it's kind of interesting that they changed that.
Oh, this is a good one. Another one with like 2-point font.
Balduvian Shaman.
Balduvian Shaman. I love the art on this one too.
It's really cool.
Tap. Permanently change the text of target white enchantment you control that does not have cumulative upkeep by replacing all instances of one color word with another. For example, you may choose counters black spells to counters blue spells. Balduvian Shaman cannot change mana symbols. The enchantment now has cumulative upkeep 1.
Interesting. Okay, the 4 examples so weird to just see in there, like, because it's like
they had to do that back then.
Yeah, but it's like, let me give you an example of how this works. But also, there's like more text afterwards that isn't just the example. It's like that enchantment now has cumulative upkeep 1. Like you can just skip over them and be like, oh no. I think we understand this one.
Yeah, it's not that complicated of a card, but yeah. So it's like we changed the. It has to be a white enchantment, target white enchantment that I control, and it has to. So I think knowing the block.
It's for the protection.
It's the circles of the protection.
Yeah, because you have this in there as well as
all white.
Yeah, you have this in there plus the protection ones, and like you're like, oh wait, I'm playing against a mono black deck. Oh no, I need to switch that to.
It's a fixing. It's like I've got a circle of protection blue, but I've
got
got a
Balduvian cumulative upkeep 1.
Yeah.
Gross.
Interesting. So yeah, so the Oracle text. Let's see if we're right. Tap. Change the text of target white enchantment you control that doesn't have cumulative upkeep by replacing all instances of one color word with another.
Yeah.
Then they do the for example.
That is hilarious.
The enchantment gains cumulative upkeep 1. So yeah, it's not that all that much different.
I guess 4 examples these days are just they probably don't do 4 examples anymore, but it is a reminder text, I will say. But yeah. Interesting. Okay.
100%. That's why it's in that set, because that set had all the circles. It had to have been.
I mean, if you know any other examples of ones that were in there, or whatever,
well, there was also the runes of protection.
Yeah.
I think. There was like a bunch of like cards that kind of did the same thing, and they all seemed to be white. It was like white was like the protection color.
That's true. So there you go. There you go. Apparently, if you want to go protection tribal, you need to go buy Balduvian Shaman right now. It's 10 cents right now. Go buy it just to make sure that you can protect your things properly.
Okay, what do we think was the most like confusing of the cards out of the ones that we looked at?
Thanos.
We looked at Tempest Effreet. That wasn't that. Thanos is Coffin.
I think Thanos is pretty confusing.
If they would just say that it phases out, then it is.
Yeah, it would solve the whole thing.
Solves it all. But it still was really.
Yep. The Charizard's pretty,
I
think, self-explanatory.
Yeah, that one was self-explanatory. They just did way too much. I thought Ice Cauldron was pretty it just had a lot of like.
There's a lot going on.
Overcomplicated.
Yes, it didn't have to be that complex.
Like I get what you guys were trying to do. Yeah, but it's a complicated concept to try to bolt on.
Interesting.
I think that one and that
Helm is interesting too.
Yeah, Helm was one too, because it was all about like
you can't
X and the creature.
You stop when you hit a creature.
So many things,
but also it mentions one or more, and it's like, why does it mention one or more? That doesn't make any sense to me.
This is why this game is the most complicated game in the world.
Exactly, and why we need literally a website that has Oracle text for it, where you're like, wait, is that actually what happens?
You had to errata.
Look it up.
The writers of yesteryear.
Well, I mean, it's happening these days too. Like, not these days, but recently, companions, right? Like, that's been Oracle texted now, essentially, where it's like, oh, you got to pay an extra 3 to special action, bring it to your hand first. It's like, what is that on the card? No, Wizards just made a boo-boo and was like, oh no, well, we don't want to ban them all.
Yeah, I wish that you didn't have to pay the 3 to get it to your hand. I wish like maybe it just gets exiled if it ever gets destroyed or something like that.
I don't know. It's just very strange. They're like, we're breaking other formats. Let's just ban-aid.
We'll make them really dumb to play.
Yeah, but then I think they still had to ban a couple in Legacy.
They did.
Yeah. So, anyways, regardless, outside of companions, hope that you enjoyed this episode. Hope that maybe you got some examples of cards that you wish we would have talked about on this one that have incredibly complex original text and just
Well, we can probably do another few episodes on this if people like it. We can
find
a lot more complicated cards, I'm sure.
Exactly. That's in the comments below. what cards are the most complex to you. Yeah, thanks again for joining, Eric.
Yeah, thanks.
And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one.
This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.